Hello and welcome back everybody to the Foodbuild factory, where today we're going to take a look at the Pack-Brahmin. That's the lovely two-headed heavy gunner you can see on screen right now. And as always, we're getting right into the video. I'm going to show you some gameplay, and in the latter half of the video we're going to take a look at the perks, the mutations and the equipment. But most of the time I'm going to talk about the equipment straight up, but I'm going to show it off in the last half of the video. So that's what we're talking about here. So as you can already see here, we are playing as a heavy gunner, and specifically said we're playing as a heavy gunner outside of power armor, which, due to the reason that stabilized is such a good perk for power armor, you very rarely see people use heavy guns outside of power armor, unless they are like bloodied builds that rely on unyielding armor or such. But yeah, as I said, most of the times you will see heavy gunners in power armor. So what we are missing out of by not using power armor here is a bit of accuracy, which I never thought to be that necessary for a heavy gunner. Well, nice to have, but more importantly, we're missing out on a lot of armor penetration. So why exactly do we play without power armor in that case? Well, due to the way that damage resistance in this game works, with a high damage per shot slow firing weapon like this here harpoon gun, we're not missing out on that much armor penetration at all. So because basically the weapons that are most affected by armor ratings, if you don't take in account that energy weapons use a different formula to calculate the armor, and therefore they're in general just worse. The most affected weapons are high rate of fire weapons with lower base damage. What does that mean for us in that case? Well, as I said already, this here harpoon gun has a high damage per shot, and therefore isn't affected all that much. Where we will actually see quite a bit of difference is with our backup weapon or main weapon. You really use both of them a lot, and that's our furious 50 cal with 10 damage while aiming here. So due to the fact that we're aiming down sights, we still have, in order to get the bonus from our legendary effect here, we still get quite decent accuracy, to say at least. And yeah, the 50 cal is just a good weapon, good enough in order to make it still viable, even if we don't have stabilized on, even though we would benefit from it. The reason I went... oh yeah, wait a second, where did you all come from? So as you can see here, we're a bit squishy simply because we're not in power armor, but we do have very effective stim packs, so boosting them by perks. In combat, just use a stim pack every once in a while and you shouldn't have all that big of a problem, honestly. So just finishing off this little guy here, and then we see if there are more ghouls, but looks like we're fine, honestly. And now I gotta remember where I was talking about, but yeah, I was talking about how the 50 cal is good enough so we can still roam around without power armor. And what I wanted to go for with this character here is, except for its obviously very cool style, like I found it really funny that they're, simply because I think that in this case the Brahmin mask doesn't even look all that ridiculous, to be honest. Like I think, well, it's hard to show off simply because we're between these railways, but yeah, I do like it, especially in third person. You really look like this Pack-Brahmin imposter or something. So anyways, especially with robots, simply because they're so fast moving, their weak points are pretty hard to hit, and they're dishing out a lot of damage. In this case, I tend to use the 50 cal here, which, as you can see, we aren't exactly accurate, but it's doing the job. We can get in close quarters, and well, accuracy isn't that big of a problem anymore. The harpoon gun actually isn't that good of a gun, but it's good at what it's good at, if that makes sense. So being this kind of sniper weapon for heavy gunner classes is a nice thing to have. I do like it, and just show it off again here. It really, with the explosion in the background there. It really fits the backpack of the character very well, and the whole combination of outfit, backpack, and harpoon. I think I like it. It's funny, and furthermore, as the name Pack-Brahmin already implies, this build is focused around carry weight. So what I wanted to do is, in general, something I did recognize is that when it comes to carry weight in this game, unless you're playing a bloodied build, the best option for conveniently high carry weight is a heavy gunner, simply because you do have a lot of strength anyways. The perk Bare Arms makes it so that your weapons wear basically nothing, and the additional perks in strength for heavy gunners are good, like faster reload or bullet shield or something. They're not bad, but they're not necessary at all. So simply due to the way that heavy guns have such high ammo capacity, you do not spend a lot of time reloading anyways. And with the harpoon gun, there is some it's a bit crazy, simply because as stupid as it sounds, but faster reload doesn't really help you all that much, simply because it has some trigger delay. So it doesn't work the moment your reload is done. So even after your reload is done, if you can do it faster, you still have to wait before you can shoot again. So the faster reload simply doesn't help you all that much. It's a shame, and I hope it's going to be fixed somewhere in the future, but it seems like such a small niche problem that it's probably not going to address. And well, all I wanted to say in this case was yeah, you don't need faster reload, and therefore you have room for another carry weight perk in strength. Well, I did really take some time to get to the point here, but well, anyways, as you saw in the background here, clearing this here radar encampment, the faster reload actually, or not the faster reload, the reload in general it's tedious that you have to reload after every shot, but it's not that big of a deal in most situations. It's simply, what it is good at actually is that with a lot of focus on AP refresh, this character here can basically use his harpoon in vets all the time, simply because when we have to reload after we took a shot, we're going out of vets, and exactly in the time where our weapon reloads, our action points came back pretty much entirely already. So that's something I found I mean, it's hard to put into words, but while playing the game, you really feel like it's running very smooth. You very rarely have to wait for action points to come back, which can be tedious. And aiming the harpoon manually, while it feels satisfying, especially in first person, it can often lead to, similar to how the bow works, like sometimes the dot that you get on screen just doesn't really align with where the shot goes actually, and you miss a lot of shots, which is more frustrating in free aim, I feel like, than it is in VATS, simply because in VATS, yeah, you know it's a chance base, but if you feel like you should really have nailed a shot, like in this case I know I shot next to him, but if you really nail a shot that miss a shot that you think should have nailed it, that can be more frustrating than anything, and therefore using the weapon in wets seems to be doing very well. And well, especially in first person, you gotta admit one thing, that this weapon here is very satisfying to use. The choo-choo noise when you shoot and stuff, it's just working very well, and even though it's not the greatest weapon. If you're wondering, by the way, we're using an instigating one. So an instigating harpoon gun with, I think the second effect is increased bash damage. And I know that you might think at the moment that I'm using a magic weapon here, but it's not the case for the simple reason, which I can show off later. I'm not using the flechette mods, or flechette, I'm actually not sure how it's pronounced. You know, the mod that basically turns your shotgun in your harpoon gun into a shotgun. And yeah, for those who don't know, that could turn your weapon into a magic weapon. Well, I mean, it's going to be patched on Tuesday anyways, but or Thursday, is it? I'm unsure. But anyways, yeah, we're using the standard harpoons here, and therefore our shots are 100% legitimate. I'm wondering if there are some super mutants over there. And well, so another weapon I'm carrying, another harpoon gun, which I found very interesting, is a quad one. By the way, I'm deliberately not using explosive versions of the gun, simply because I know they can be hard to obtain. But honestly, this weapon I'm holding at the moment, it might be a bit hard to obtain simply because people don't keep them in their stash box or anything. But if you see someone who has it, it should be dirt cheap. No one's really using harpoon guns except for quad explosive versions. But yeah, for a little fun weapon, especially for farming basic mobs, that's where this weapon is strong. I'd recommend. So you really feel it falling behind when it comes to super mutants. I guess if you were to really invest into VATs, like meaning a lot of perception, a lot of agility points, a lot of luck and such, you could take down super mutants, high-level super mutants, reliably in one shot if you manage to always hit their head with this here instigating weapon. The problem is that it wasn't really worth it to really invest all that much into perception and agility on this character here. So the reason that the fact that our IP comes back so fast is enough so we can reliably use our weapon all the time and go for the torso to reliably hit. As I said, you can always take some shots to the head, which I'm going to show off when we're facing super mutants, but if not, remember you always carry your trusty 50 cal, which is a powerhouse of a weapon, and overall I'd say the strength of this here character is it's very much convenient. So you have a lot of room for convenience perks. You have both weapons are very conservative when it comes to ammo, so the resources for your ammo are easy to come by, or your ammo is easy to craft in masses. And I thought for a second that they were T-posing. And obviously you get bonus points for style. Like I always find it to be a personal challenge whenever Fastnacht comes around, or whenever Halloween or something leads to new apparel being added. It seems to be ridiculous always when it comes out, like things like the deathclaw, gauntlet and such. They are looking so gimmicky, so you always feel like they don't really belong into the Fallout universe, almost. But on the same hand, pretty much always they do have one or two like uses. When you come across them or see someone using them, you feel like, hey, it doesn't even look that ridiculous. Like if you can find a lore explanation, yeah, that was it, for the situation. Like, for example, take my guy here. You could say like he's a radar armorer, like quartermaster or something, carrying heavy weapons around. For example, what I found really cool was the backpack, like this here water backpack, the water barrel. You could really play as a water merchant or something. But yeah, I just wanted to make a character that, I mean, it still looks ridiculous, but that doesn't feel so out of place in the Fallout universe, if that makes sense. Anyways, by the way, I think no, they're not dangerous. So yeah, I don't really want to walk into the next encounter or something. I think we're in the middle of nowhere, kind of here. So yeah, it's just the Seneca rocks. So that's it for the gameplay. Sadly, we didn't show off super mutants. But I can tell you, if you go for super mutants, you should just use the 50 cal. You are fine. Like, take a stimpak every now and then. Obviously, you would be better off in power armor in that case, but it's manageable. And now we're going to take a look at our perks. So here they are. We do have bare arms, as I already alluded to in the video. Heavy guns weigh 90% less, and while there's the weapon effect that you can get, it doesn't really work with mods, so it only reduces the base weapon, the base weight of your weapon by 90%, so the bare arms perk is way more potent. Anyways, you just use 2 weapons, so if you tend to carry tons of other stuff that you find to be more beneficial, like you could always go for Ordnance Express or something. This is something that you can say about all the carryweight perks that I'm using here. They are just if you want to use them, and you can always take something else. They are no make or breakers for the build. So what's important here are our 3 ranks of heavy gunner, all maxed out. And this here combination I do recommend, simply because Bandolier 2 is really a kind of must-have on this character. If you want to play a heavy gunner, you really want to carry as much ammo as you can, and you quickly gather a lot of ammo, especially if you're doing the daily ops or something. Maybe I can get some reputation here. Oh no, he just wants to talk. So yeah, back to the perks. This here combination, yeah, Bandolier is quite good, simply because you're naturally carrying a lot of ammo, and as you rarely tend to find anything really good for 1 rank, I think the best use here is Blocker. I mean, we are still a ranged character, even though we're getting into lower to mid-range category here. Blocker isn't the most useful thing, but it's never bad to have, and even 1 rank, 15% less from melee damage, melee attacks, means that a big pool of enemies in this game just simply does 15% less damage to you. Period. It's a good perk. Onto Perception, 1 rank of concentrated fire. This is simply because if we feel a bit ballsy and go off against 1 or 2 super mutants that we can manage, you might want to use your harpoon gun and go for shots to the head. So the simple ability to target limbs is a good thing for 1 perk point, and the other 3 points we took and used for glow sight. 60% more damage to glowing enemies. Well, it's a situational perk. You're not always encountering glowing enemies, and not always are they very dangerous, but especially things like deathclaws can be glowing ones when you're high level pretty often. And if you face a glowing behemoth or something, you're happy to have this perk, let's say that way. Onto endurance. This here is 6 endurance with 3 adamantium skeleton and rank 3 of fireproof. You've seen a couple of times so far in my videos, I guess. It's something I tend to do a lot, simply because adamantium skeleton, whenever I'm not in power armor, it's nice to have this bonus to never get staggered. Even though we're using a lot of stimpaks, so you could argue that it's not really that important on this character. And rank 3 of fireproof is basically pretty much a must-have on most builds, in my opinion. So there's not a lot to talk about. These are just good to, in general, save you from a lot of trouble. Same for charisma, rank 4 lone wanderer. Very basic setup I'm always using, unless I'm actually designing a character for a team. The only thing I sometimes do is to add a few ranks of tenderizer, but that's it. Onto intelligence. this was a power armor character and is going to be one in the future again. So I wanted some high intelligence, but gunsmith here is a good idea simply because the harpoon gun, it tends to break very often, so very fast. Even without the flechette mods, it breaks fast. That's the reason I'm using luck of the draw too, but it really depends. If you're not using the harpoon gun a lot, the 50 cal has a great condition, so you can definitely, especially as it's not explosive, you can definitely afford to not use gunsmith and luck of the draw, use something else. If you however found that you do enjoy the harpoon gun and use it quite a lot, these two perks are essential in order to make it not too tiresome for you. And as I said in the video, we're using first aid. Rank 2 is actually very good already, so we're not in power armor. We do get damage simply because we're not at long range or always in stealth like a sniper for example would be. So stimpaks aren't exactly rare in this game, but if you're having a character that's exposed a lot, you can run through them very quickly still, and having first aid here makes the whole process really easier. So you really see that you're using a lot less first aid, a lot less stimpaks. Onto agility. This again is a fairly simple distribution. Action boy and marathoner. Whenever you're not in power armor, you can use marathoner if you don't have anything better. Action boy here, as I already said, we want some high AP refresh. We are, by the way, always also boosting that with our armor pieces, but I'm going to show that off later. Marathoner, as I just said, and through hiker. Well, as I said at the beginning when I was talking about perks, all the carryweight perks in this build here are absolutely unnecessary. You can do whatever you want with these 3 points. You could also argue that you could even not use the 3 points in agility and put them somewhere else, maybe in endurance to get more tanky or something. But as I wanted to go with this whole Pack-Brahmin vibe, I wanted to have some high carryweight, and especially a through hiker felt like a good pick. Because if you think about what wastelanders would carry a lot, it would be like with the water merchants, a lot of water, or taking food from point A to point B, as such. Last thing here, luck. Yet again, pretty standard, except with exception for luck of the draw. So rank 2 Starch Jeans and rank 3 Bloody Mess. While Bloody Mess isn't as good as it was before patch 22, simply because it's additive, meaning most importantly it just affects the base damage of your weapon. The thing is, as our harpoon gun has a high base damage in the first place and doesn't rely on mods in order to get more base damage, it's one of the weapons that still benefits the most from Bloody Mess. So it's actually something about like 25 damage or something. I can show that off really quick. So here we have our harpoon gun, 306 damage with Bloody Mess on. And 280, yeah. 23 points of damage. Doesn't seem like all that much in the grand scheme of things, but take in mind, especially with the instigating effect, we're talking about 46 damage here. Nearly 50 damage. That's something you can take into consideration on a slow firing weapon. So yes, you can take something else definitely. It wouldn't be all that big of a problem. Like, good choice here would be one gun army. However, I didn't feel like it's necessary in this case. This is not about crippling. One gun army can always be in there instead of luck of the draw when you're going for the queen or going for enemies you're going to know that you're going to struggle, or in some events crippling ghoul's legs or something could be a good idea. So arguably, as I said earlier, if you're not using the harpoon gun all that often, change luck of the draw with one gun army. But well, that's about it. So next thing we're going to take a look at are our mutations. We only have 3 here. There are more that could benefit us. We do have grounded, marsupial and speed demon. Some extra energy resistance is nice to have. we are not using energy weapons with this character, so energy gun damage minus 50%. That's harsh. Like, if you want to use any energy weapon at all, like, not use it, but we're purely ballistic here, so we don't care, and 100 more energy resistance is nice. Marsupial, like, a perk with more carryweight, mutation that gives you more carryweight should be bound to be on a character called Pack Mule. I think that's pretty much easy to get. And Speed Demon, well, the extra reload speed, as I told you earlier, it's kind of bugged with the harpoon gun. However, I feel like having one perk card or one mutation that improves your reload speed, is exactly enough to give you the most benefit out of it. So you don't have to wait all that long, but I feel like one is good. However, we're going to use it anyway for faster movement speed. And so we had that. Last thing we're going to show off is our equipment. As you can tell here, 50 not bash damage, as I said in the video, instigating limb damage, tactical harpoon gun, but with standard harpoons the only thing we do have equipped is a reflex sight. Better VETS accuracy, less VETS costs. I think it should work like that on a harpoon gun too. And well, for manual aiming, pretty good. So yeah, this here would have been the quad one that I wanted to show off, but didn't really. So just to say quickly, for level 75 ghouls and upwards, you need 2 torso shots or 1 headshot to kill them, which is nice. So it means that even if you're going for torso shots, you can kill 2 ghouls before you have to reload, but it's not good enough in order to let you run the White Springs without jumping around a lot and such. So that would be a situation where you would definitely want to rely on your Furious 50 cal. And speaking about the devil, here it is, our Furious 50 cal with 10% extra damage while aiming. Nothing spectacular, yet again, nothing that would break any trading records, so you should be able to get it relatively cheap, even though the effects are very solid. So Furious gives you extra damage. The rate of fire is pretty high, so you can use the Furious effect when shooting in a crowd, but you can still then pretty easily choose your target to hit that reliably, and even if not, the 50 cal is just a great weapon. And 10% extra damage while aiming, that's also nice. I also do have the slight suspicion that the 10% damage while aiming is still a multiplicative, and therefore actually pretty good after patch 22, but I don't want to confirm that yet. I'm going to take a look at it, so expect me to talk about it in one of the upcoming videos. And as for apparel, I already said Jelly the Moo backpack, military fatigues, those are unmodded by the way, so you could have more strength and endurance, I think it is, with shielded ones. We do have the farmhand clothes here, which you pretty much never saw on anyone in the wasteland, I guess, because they're in general just pretty ugly, honestly. And Jelly the Moo mask. So as for armor, we have a full set of Vanguard armor. Sorry. This here Vanguard Trapper leg. Both legs are Trapper, but the additional perks aren't really all that big. So we're talking about, yeah, well, Cavalier's nice, but unless you really focus on it, it's not that useful. Extra strength, we're not a melee character, but nice to have, especially, as I said, a lot of carry weight, Pack-Brahmin, all that shit. So works good. Bit of extra radiation damage by the radiation resistance is nice to have. And these are the crown pieces, 3 heavy pieces of Vanguard armor, 2 of them having AP refresh, so there would be room for improvement. I think one more AP refresh piece could be good for us, but as you saw already, it's definitely not necessary. And well, I think this time I haven't even forgotten something, so look at that, we're getting quite professional here. So Speaking about getting professional here, I do have good news for those who stuck with me until now. Yeah, I actually bought a PC yesterday, so you can expect to see some better quality videos, not in terms of video, audio or visual quality per se, but I'm getting my hands on a program and trying to get editing done, you know, like, not gonna promise a lot, I never done it before, but I try to get it done by next weekend to have my first edited video with script and everything. That really opens up a lot of room for improvement for me. And yeah, just wanted to say that. Till then, guys, there will be more build videos, obviously, so stay tuned, have a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.